Well, good afternoon, my YouTube friends. It's Margaret here from M.E.s Orchids, and first of all, I want to thank everybody for their concerns and well wishes during that period when I had the allergic reaction, which wasn't very nice at all. But I'm pleased to say that I'm actually over that now, and I've stopped taking the antihistamine, and some of my appetites returned, which is a good thing, because if I go off my food, then there's something wrong. Anyway, this is just that little no ID phalaenopsis, and I've rebloomed this. It's only got 4 little flowers on, but this is the one that's on a mount, and I'm rather pleased that I've been able to rebloom this one. And so what's happening in the grow room? Well, we're in September now, and for us here in England, well, for me anyway, because I live in the northwest, excuse the sound of the fan here in this corner, but it's on automatically as soon as I switch on in the morning, and there, can you see it? So what I'm checking now, I'll just take this light slightly, oh that's too darn much. What I'm doing now is checking those that have got sphagnum moss, and you see this one here. Now this is one that, of course, this nice dendrobium that came in that coconut husk, just like Roger's got one at the moment, and the orchids just love that. The orchid roots absolutely adore it, but for our winters it's no good, and so this one had to be hacked at, to say the least, and it has adjusted, and like I say, you can see there that new growth. So I've checked the sphagnum moss on there, and at the moment I'm prepared to leave that as it is, even though it's a little bit thick. Now I've put this up here because this is the one that I nearly lost last year, Laelia rubescens. Can you see that nice one there? And of course this is a very highlight one, and it was on this side wall here, so that's got a little bit of moss, got some nice green growing tips there, can you see? And at the moment I'm fine with that, there's enough, but I do let this dry out, and I've elevated this up now to just come back a little bit, so you don't get blinded by that light. And it's at that part of the window. I'll lower the light as I go round. And so that's another issue, you see, light. And this morning, because the way the room is, this area gets the morning sun, which is very good. So it hits these Laelias here, Cattleyas here, and we've got the sorry about that. Let's just take it down. There we go. And we've got that phalaenopsis hieroglyphica there, and I've just actually brought a gloxinia up from downstairs. Now, can you see the sphagnum moss on this one? And we've got that new growth there. Can you see that new growth starting to grow now? So I'll just keep my eye on that. Where I live, and because of our cold winters, I can't have moss on anything that's going to stay wet too long. It just won't work in my environment. You see up in here, let's just lighten you up a bit, in this corner, you see, that's a Phalaenopsis amboyensis here. Let's lift this off. Right. And I'll just bring it over here. Okay. Might just have to lighten it for you. There. Now, this is one of those that I moved onto this bigger mount. And let's see if it'll allow me to show you. And I've got new roots there. And there's new roots forming underneath. And put it back over here. And you'll see there's a small amount of moss. Can you see underneath there? Now, I'm fine with that. That's that flower inflorescence. That never did anything last year. And let's have a look over here. See? So, but I'm going to keep my eye on that, because at the end of the day, come November, December, these probably won't get watered, only perhaps once a week, if that, because it's going to be too wet, too cold. Our temperatures last night for this area dropped down to 6°C. Now the only one that's outside and loving it is the Dendrobium delicatum. So that's another one, you see, Samira. Can you see? They're growing new roots, and there was a little root here, there, that stopped, but now that's started again. And this one here, this is the Epicattleya Santa Maria, and what I did yesterday, I took some of the fishing line away, and I took a little bit of moss out of there, because that's got a crevice in the middle, and I don't want the middle being too wet. That's that Phalaenopsis, do you remember? That's got a touch of rotting. That's of course the big Pastoral Innocence, and that new pseudobulbs coming along nicely. Now these were only watered yesterday. Now I don't have a set regime for feeding and watering. It just depends sometimes, because I make my own feed up, whether or not I can actually be bothered sometimes. And yesterday the mounts were fertilised, but the rest I'd run out of fertilised water, so I just filled up with plain not tap water, rainwater. And this is that big one. Can you see that big one? And if I step on my step, you see I've slightly moved it from that area, see that, because it's more that area there where the other Cattleya is there. Can you see? Well, this is the basket that it kind of wedged between those two poles, and I brought it here simply because as the sun comes through in the morning, it lights up this area. You see all those nice roots, and we're doing fine. This is the Dendrobium, let's just have a look at that, because I don't, oh, that's Gatton Sunray. Hopefully I've got that right this year, and next year we might get some blooms. That's the, there, in that little corner, that's the Dendrobium thiciflorum. So, oh, and this is that big, nice big Coleogyne. And if we look under here, and you see, we've got that nice growth. And That's one of the Phragmipediums. And which is this one? Oh, that's Lascarinus. So, and that's of course the, over there, that's the Oncidium Powii. So, and the one that I keep praying will survive, that's Chi Yinlin. I keep praying every time I water it. What else can you do? And over here, of course, are some of the frags. And at this corner, I've got some of the Hoyas. And I'll take you just down below, in that corner there. Let's see if I can get underneath and show you. That's the Phalaenopsis sunlight. And you won't see the new roots that are forming underneath. So that's fine, that's out of the woods. This is the Lamelatum. It's got new little growths coming, although it's dropping 1 or 2 leaves. And looks quite dark in this area, doesn't it? There we go. And I've got the light there. I've not got the fan, the big oscillating fan in the room at the moment. Just find it easier to just film without the encumbrance of having to try and manoeuvre around that. And there we go. So the new growth on the Bifrenara there, still extending. Let's turn that one round. These are the 2 new growths on the Dendrobium falco-rostrum. And that's that new growth there, coming on leaps and bounds now from the Thunia bensonii. And this one is the other part of the Gomza leca. The other one I've mounted. That one there, behind there, is Dendrobium chrysotoxum. Now I've got three lots of that. And if we look up there, that's Sheila's, what I call it. It's a nobly. No ID, but I call it Sheila. And that's the, is this the Catatonte or something like that? Happy Holiday. Coming along nicely. So, here we come now to just in front of that window. And this especially, this is the Cattleya walkeriana. And this especially likes this corner because it gets the morning sun. And if you've been following Ince's channel, he was saying about the different woods. He's got Robinia, and some of his orchids are rejecting that. Now, I had the same problem on Eddie's mounts, and I don't know what it was. So the only thing I've done with this one, even though I've mounted it on top of one of Eddie's mounts, is just to elevate it up, and it has this finger hold here. So when I come to water it, I just grab hold of that, you see, I take that. Now whether or not any of those roots will go down onto that bark, I don't know yet. And if we look here, let's take the light down slightly again. These ones, you can just see these, this one and this one are Crumamentum cakeys. That one there is the Dendrobium Stardust Firebird. And you see the Catasetum type, that one, after the new growth rotted, although I've left it in there, it's never grown, so maybe we won't have to wait until we go through this winter. That's one of the chrysotoxins. That's a chrysotoxin, and that one there is. And of course they're the dendrobiums. So let's just take a little bit of extra light for you. That's one of the oncidiums, and of course that's tetragonum. So, and these are the two, that's the Van der Kool, falcata Schuteno, and this one, so look at this one, this is Baby Angel. Now I don't know whether I can turn it round and manoeuvre so you can see it. Where is it? Down one of these little areas, I think you can just about see it. There. It looks as though we could have some kind of flowering fluorescence going on there. So, but they were watered yesterday, and then I put them in these pots to allow them to soak through. Okay. And as we lighten up, and we can see down here, that's Kingianum. Some Phalaenopsis, that's the Dendrobium, sorry, the Bulbophyllum lobii. This is one from the let's get it right, Thyssiflorum, that I keep watering. I didn't throw these canes away because to me they were still viable, but it hasn't produced any root yet. So, but I'm not throwing it away, I'm not giving up on that one yet. And below, Phalaenopsis. The majority of these here are Phalaenopsis. Oh, this is the Coelogeny. Let me just get down on one knee so I don't break my neck. And let's have a look at the Coelogeny. And you see? Now let's just, can you see that little growth there? That's died back. I tell you, this one is so temperamental. Just come up and see if I can come over here where it's a little darker. Right, so we've got this new growth and we've got that new growth. Where? But that one looks as though it could have been attempting another new growth. Come on, focus in. It's not focusing in, is it? And you can see how it's rotted back. So temperamental, some of them, I can't believe it. Right, so now can I get to the window without blinding you all? Let's have a look. This way. So that's the Vanda there on the stick. That's the Sidendemphinia. And this one here is Adisac happiness. And they're totally wet through because I soaked them yesterday. See the Vanda. Let's have a look what that is. Kultana Gold by Dr. Anek. They're doing fine. Bring a little bit more light here. And this is Kultana Gold by Robert's Delight. There we go. That's coming on a treat, that one is. And the one, I have to be careful with the light, the one that has got the back to you, this one here is of course Laelia lobata. And that root, let's see if it'll, let me just hang it there for a second. Let's bring you back up in the light. Yes, that root there, it's gone through there, and there's a little hole. Can you see it? I love it. I don't know how they do it. There's a little hole there, and below me down, it doesn't come out the normal way, this way, it goes down the little hole. They just love nooks and crannies. And you see there, that was that new growth. So I think I've managed to save this Lily Lobata. Now that was the one that was in the scrunchy bowl. Right, so this one here, behind this one, let's just gently move them along. It's like moving curtains. Okay. This is Dendrobium gracilicoli. And sometimes it's easier just to lift it down. Let's lift it down. Sorry about that. And where can I hang it? Oh, I'll hang it here. Okay. Referring back to M.E.s video regarding the wood. You see, if you are lucky enough to find a piece of wood that is suitable for your orchid, within a few days it'll tell you. Can you see there now? Look at that. Look at the roots. And of course I've got that new growth there now. There. And you can see where the roots are coming. They're coming out all over. And so that one's fine. This one here, I'm going to show you here now. This is taking a lot longer. And let's just take it slightly. And this morning, was it yesterday, behind one of these roots here, just about there, a little focus in because I'm quite close to it, is, can you just see the start here, the start of this Dendrobium accepting this mount. And so this transition period that I keep going on about, it does take sometimes, you see there, you can see a new growth coming now, sometimes takes some orchids longer than others. And this shed 1 or 2 leaves. And if I go back over here without rushing you, and this big gracilicoli drops some leaves, but they're fine now, they're fine. So I'm going to bring you back over here, and I'll bring this back so it's not in the way. And I just love having my mounts, you know, when they've got handy holes that I can grab onto. Right, so let's go up into this corner now. And that's the Alcoglossum. There's Wangi, which is that little one, and this is Alcoglossum subdiflorum. That's the Dendrobium retulifolium. And let's bring this one here. Oh, can you see those Phalaenopsis buds there? I'm going to bring this one, if I can, forward. Nearly not one of my darn Phalaenopsis buds off then. Right. Okay. And this is the Gomeza Lecco. Now can you see? Slightly just take all those white roots on there. Now they've all got green tips on. Can you see? All the way down. And so last evening it's got new growths on as well. And if I turn it round, see, I've got all nice new roots there. And if I turn it this way, we've got new roots there. But what I discovered last night, I think it was this one here. Can you see that one there? Let's just see if I can just position this so I can show you. Can you see that growth there? Here. Can you see? There. And I just thought to myself, oh hello, what's going on there? Now I've not taken that little bit of a sheath back yet. And what made me realise about the sphagnum moss was the fact that I could see that, and the sphagnum moss was right over here. So I started to peel back the sphagnum moss. I thought there's too much sphagnum moss on here. It's staying too wet in between the waterings and it needs to come off. So that's what I'm in the process of doing now, is checking each of the orchids that are in or mounted with sphagnum moss, because I need, for our winters, I need as little sphagnum moss as possible. Now, put you in the dark and bring you back to the light. Now you see that one there? That's the dendrobium. Sorry, come on and focus. There we go. That's the dendrobium pendulum. That new growth. Can you see the markings on that leaf? Now I only saw that last night, and I thought to myself, now what has caused that? And the only thing I can think of is when I've watered that, as it was growing, it got splashed with water. So, fortunately for me, it's not rotted it, and it's grown on since, but I'm very, very careful now how I water. And you'll see that bottom leaf dropping there. Well, this is a deciduous one, and at some point during the winter, it'll drop all those leaves. There's the other Laelia, and that's an autumnalis, and I think it's the other side, which I can't show you. I've got a new suitable developing there, and of course that's the Orchids falcata. That's the dendrobium polyanthum. That is dendrobium flickingiera, and that's the big Rinco stylish gigantica with just the one root. And I moved a couple of the big Hoyas over here, and this one of course is the Procativolia Jarak Green Star. Look at that. And I've elevated the Angraecum up as well. That's the Frag Garum Weaver. If I go back up here, that's that RLC. Now is that pink diamond, or is that Dusky Maid? That's Dusky Maid. And that, you see, is a rebloom for me. I thought it was one of the ones I call the Three Sisters, but they're white ones, and this doesn't look as though it's going to come out white. So we'll just have to wait and see. And down we go to the big Laelia purpurata. Can you see that big leaf? That's ready and due to be watered. That was the pink diamond. And we look on under here, that is Little Zorro. And Little Zorro is doing very well, and you won't see from this angle, but it's also sending a new root out. But as it's sending the new root out, it's aborting that leaf. And if I move these along, I do apologise about this, it's been a long video. You'll see here, this is the Miltassia Royal Robe, and Michael McCarthy, when I said I'd only got one Oncidium type, and he said, what about your Miltassia? And this is the one I had in that kind of a oval shaped open basket. And I decided was it a couple of days ago, that excuse me while I just manoeuvre myself, that's it, that I needed more control over this one with the roots. So what I've done is I've put it in a smaller pot, and I can see the roots now, and so I shall have control over when it needs watering. And maybe because it's got a new growth this side, and it's got the new growth that side, so maybe with a bit of luck, that's another one I might be able to flower next year. And like I say, that's the Sergio Aria, doing very nicely. That's the Phalaenopsis that had crown rot and grew its own cakey. Well, it's a clone. So that will flower as though this clone here will flower as though it's the mother plant. And there's another one. I think, if I'm truthful, back on my hands and knees again, this one was the one that had that complete rotting. And you know, it was clear, wasn't it? And I picked it up a few days ago, and blow me down if that new area that had grown, can you remember I said to you the leaf has grown? That new area had grown, and there, blow me